Give Tech 101, aka Black Mentors. We discuss information technology, also known as IT. In today's episode, we're going to be doing networking 101, and these are the basic things that people who are newly coming into IT should know at least somewhat of how to do in order to make ends meet and to get through your day of issues that you have. So in today's episode, I'm going to be going over some components that you are likely to use in a small home office or a small business office networking job. I've used every single one of these devices myself in setting up a small office network for a few clients, so I wanted to share the information with you and my experience in going through that. So definitely post your questions in the comments below, and we'll definitely see if we can get to them definitely at some point in time. So two different things, people. When you're installing a network, of course, in a small office or home office, there are some components that you are going to need in order to get through that job. You're going to need definitely a box of cable. Here I have a piece of a Cat 5e Cat 6 cable. Here in this particular cable that I'm having in front of me here is one I just cut to a shorter length just so I can show you all on the channel. And so this cable here is actually already kind of pre-cut. You may see some of the wiring that's going to be on the inside of there. Now the wiring itself for this particular cable, you got your white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, green, white, brown, brown, that are going to go onto the networking jacks that you have. Now, setting that cable aside, we're going to look at the work boxes. Now, there are two different types of things. In your home, you may have this type of work box right here. And this is a standard, just blue workbox. They come in different colors and everything. You can actually poke out the holes on the back side of these. So you just take just either a small screwdriver, flat head or something, and you just basically look on the back side of that. And you're just basically going to just poke a hole on the back side of the device, and you're going to kind of just push it in just a bit, just so that way that you can, let's see here, I'm going to turn mine over a little bit. So you want to be sure that when you do that, you have a flat head. The flat head is going to work best. You just basically just poke the hole there, and you're going to see it kind of go through. And the reason why you do this is depending on how you place these in the wall. Of course, when you align them in there, the nails there are kind of going at an angle, so that way you can take your hammer and nail this into the wall, so it's going to fit flushed just like that into the wall. And depending on how you route your cable, if your cable is coming from more up top, you want to make sure that your cable, before you terminate it, you're going to pull the cable down inside the back side of this. And once you pull the cable in, you have your networking jack here, and then your box here, your wall plate, and you're going to put that on top. And basically how that's going to look is as such, and I'm going to show you, because you know I like to do the examples on the channel. And make sure you use your screws that come with it. So once you get your cabling and everything done, you will actually terminate this on the back of the wall jack itself. And then once you terminate it, you're going to put your wall jack inside of here, and then this is basically going to slide and pop into here. Now your cable will not be dangling out like this. This is just an example of how it would look if you was to do one. Now, you definitely want to make sure your cable is not being bent in any type of weird radius. Like, you don't want your cable all turned all up and bent all up and everything like that, because it can cause issues. And this is just a standard work box. The second type of work box that you may see is much more ones on a commercial level. These are metal. Some electrical contractors would require their small voltage guys to run these. You see it has the little slots here at the top, and what you basically do is in order to knock these out, you're going to take a small flathead. Make sure you have some pliers, and as you can see, these, you do not want to do this by hand, people. And you basically take it and you can twist it out, pop it out, or you can just pop it in. Once you do that, you'll have it like this. Your cable comes down in there, and then you can route it. But before you do that, you gotta get you some of these here. These right here are like your different types of grommets that you can get. All right, and depending on the size that you have with these determines what is going to fit in here. I bought all these off of Amazon. So we're just gonna grab one. And once you get one in there, and what I like to do with mine is I'm going to kind of open it up just a little bit, so that way I just won't have any issues with it. Okay. So what happens is these are going to pop directly in here. So let me move this out here first. You want to go ahead and pull that little slot. Looks like a little nickel to me. I'm going to pull that off, set that aside. You have your little grommet right here. I'm going to take your grommet. Excuse my hands, you all. I have been working in here, so a little bit ashy with this, okay? Once that pops in there, just like that, your next step is your cabling is going to slide directly in there. Now, I want you to keep this in mind, people. These right here are going to fit pretty tight in there. You can see as I'm sliding my cable in, and it's going to come out like that. This prevents the cable from getting pulled up out of the wall. When you're trying to pull, it's harder to pull the cable back than pulling the cable in like that. See that? I can't pull back. This prevents the cable from being pulled up out of the wall itself. So if you don't use these, your cable is going to be all over the place. Okay? So definitely want to make sure that you do that right. Now that we have the two different wall jacks, or the wall work boxes out of the way here, you have your keystone jacks that will fit into your wall plates. Now, some people like to put different types of things in here. You may have two Cat 5 wall jack or jacks. You may have coax. You may have a different one in there. It just depends on what kind of job that you're going to be doing is going to determine how these are going to sit. Once you figure that out and all that, then you're going to start getting into your cabling, okay? Now, in your cable, on your cable, you will have a little white thread-like material. And that thread-like material is so that you can rip the cable down. It's kind of hard to grab by hand. But I'm going to see if I can briefly cut just a little piece more so that you can see this here. There we go. All right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So you have 4 braided pieces of cable, but it's 8 physical pieces of cable. So as you can see, right here, you have your white, orange, orange, white. You have your white, blue, and blue, white, green, green, white, brown, brown. Okay, those are the different color codes that you have. When you're running the cables through the ceiling, especially if you're going to be using wood, you can use bridal rings depending on the number of cables that you're going to be routing. The bridal ring is so that the cable can actually go through and it's going to be hanging down a bit, so that way that your cable is out of the way. These come in handy, people, if you are working in a construction environment and you're in there running your cables before they start spraying the cotton foam insulation type stuff in the ceiling. These will keep this off the floor part of the roof or the attic, and these are a lifesaver. go ahead and invest in these. These are what they call bridal rings. See the little notch right there? So if you happen to run these cables before you do this, all you have to do is twist that aside a little bit. You're gonna twist it aside just a little bit in the ceiling. Say your cable is running like that and your bridal ring is like this, and you're like, how am I gonna get this cable into here? You just twist this just a little bit, and you slide your cable down like that, and you rotate it back. And as you see, the cable doesn't move, the bridal ring does. And it supports the cable. It keeps it up out of the way. That will be a lifesaver to a lot of you out there. I'm telling you. I've experienced it. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So that right there, people, is the video for today in the basics of cabling. Definitely like, listen, and subscribe to the channel. DivTech 101, aka Black Mantle. Look forward to bringing more technology content to you soon.